We're old, we're grumpy, and we have more humbug than a predatory child catcher.
Just once in a decade, in a lifetime maybe, the world of entertainment is disrupted and utterly elated by something entirely new.
Good Lord.
And now for something completely different.
Ding dong, eerily on high. Our heads are ringing. Gorillas globally divided. The synchronized drinking. More alcohol in vino veritas.
You're very welcome to the festive Gorilla Cricket Grumpy Old Men podcast.
Hey! Hello, people.
Hello everyone. That's the voice of the bear you heard there. We also have Not Fred Titmus, and making his grumpy debut, it's none other than Nestlers. Nestle boy, how are you?
Fine. How is everybody?
So
Well,
this is the first time you've been grumpy, Nestlers. Is that what you're
It's the
saying?
first time I've been on a grumpy podcast. First time I've been on any podcast, actually, I think.
There you
I
go.
think
We're going to make a
should
star
aim
of you,
to
mate.
be the number one cricket-related grumpy podcast on iTunes. I think we could probably manage that.
Yeah,
I think we probably could.
we've cornered that market. Well, we were chatting just before we switched on the red button, which we did remember to do today, you'll be pleased to know. And Nestlers was just launching into a chat, which we stopped him short because it sounded like a good podcast copy, about where he was nearly mistaken for a record manager or something. Is that right, Nestlers? What was the whole story there?
Well, some friends of mine in North Carolina were in a band called Motorola at the time. They had to change their name because they got threatened with legal action.
Good call.
But there was a bit of a buzz about them, and they were playing at a brewery, The Brewery, which was a club in Raleigh, in North Carolina. And the rumour went round that Jimmy Iovine, he of Interscope Records, was going to come down and watch them with a view to signing them to Interscope, which was quite a big deal, especially for them. We were at this. It was a brilliant club. It was this very, very shabby place, and these sort of four white limos turned up outside. It was hilarious. The club held about 200 people, sort of thing, and I'm standing there, and they're just mates of mine, and I think he must have heard my accent or something. We had put them out one song on a compilation album. Me and my friends had a small label, and we put them out. They did one song for us, and I don't know if he got wind of that or something. But I was standing there, and so I got this tap on the shoulder, and I've turned around, and it's Jimmy Iovine. And for those who don't know, Jimmy Iovine's the man who's produced Patti Smith, Bruce Springsteen. He worked on Born to Run and everything. And I'm turned around and sort of gone, bloody hell. And through the noise of the band, I got what he said, "Do we need to talk?" Meaning he thought I was their manager. And I kind of looked at him and I pointed, and we went outside into the car park, and I'm like, "Oh, hi," and he's gone, "Well, what's the deal?" Blah, blah, blah. And I've gone, "Sorry, I don't understand." And he's gone, "Well, you've signed them and all this." And I've gone, "Oh, no, they're just mates of mine."
Oh,
That's where you
Yeah.
went wrong, Nestlers. We could have all went well.
Oh.
You could have been a multi-millionaire. You could have been in the Defiant ones.
I didn't have a contract with them or anything. They're just some buddies. As
You just
people.
not the
make that
point.
shit up on the fly,
I
and then you
know,
sell it to him, and then you do it later in the back room, mate.
I was freaked out because I'm standing there with the guy who's produced bloody Horses, Patti Smith, and I was just wanting to talk to him about that, and then he just
you
wandered
realise
off.
you had an English accent, which in America is worth, it's worth an extra zero on the end when it comes to negotiations.
Yeah,
You missed out.
I know, but hey ho, those such a thing. So it was quite funny, but he didn't sign my mate's band in the end.
Well, he would have done had you
He
sold
would
it
have
better.
done, precisely. You could have convinced him in the parking lot they were worth $1 million sign up, and then, Bob's your
See,
uncle. Off you
I
go on a
haven't got
world
this-
tour.
I haven't got this salesman bollocks, have I?
No, I'd have probably done the same. That's true. But I'm just telling you, post 20 years later, this is exactly what you should have fucking done.
And you could have made sure you had a rider with plenty of donuts in.
Oh,
Absolutely.
yes.
Every stop on the tour, it'd be Nestle's donuts.
I haven't had a donut since I was last in Sydenham.
Really? You used to bring too many donuts in. They were bad.
I
for my health.
know, but they're only £1 a packet or 60p a packet, I think, in that Sainsbury's. So I used
They
to think,
were-
oh, everyone likes a donut, so I used to buy lots. I mean, I did a thing at the start of September. I was during this lockdown. I was just eating rubbish because I'd get deliveries from Sainsbury's, and I'd started to look, and it was just full of crap. So I've gone on a sort of a diet.
You've gone on a health kick. You've gone on a health kick, Nestle's.
Well, I've been taking vitamins, but I've also just cut out all the shite from my grocery orders because it
Also,
was just.
Nestlers, last time we spoke, you said you hadn't had a drink since February or whatever it was. Is that still the case?
I haven't had a drink since March the 14th.
Oh man, I feel so sorry for you.
Absolutely.
all right.
Quite thirsty, I'd have thought.
Yeah, I am. Well,
Is that healthy?
I've had plenty of this.
Gee, lovely.
Gee.
Well, speaking of which, I mean, actually, you know what? Nestle's looks like. Can you imagine those sort of post World War II movies of the '60s? He looks like he'd been one of them with sort of Burt Lancaster and David.
Are you referring to his
Guns of
unfeasibly
Navarone
large
type stuff.
moustache?
Well, it's the unfeasibly large moustache, and actually the cap looks a bit cool, and the thing around his neck looks like a kafir or whatever they use in the desert. You know, that's it. Exactly. There you go.
And the
He
burning
looks
building.
like
And a burning
Burt
building.
Reynolds gone to seed.
Well, these people who will hear this but won't see it is I've got a festive backdrop of the Nakatomi Tower from Die Hard, which is a Christmas film.
It is a Christmas film.
Naku, Toby. Anyway, we've been listening to the life of Nestlers, but what, Grubby, has been going on in the world of cricket?
Pakistan lost a T20 match to New Zealand earlier today. No news there, really. I suppose the big news this week is India skittled for Billy 12 Trees 36.
Amazing.
Quite
How did that
astonishing.
How did that happen then?
I was quite upset. Obviously, two teams that I would most like to see lose, along with South Africa. That's quite half, I suppose. That's half of the test-playing nation. That a nations of the people I would like to see lose.
And
Top of the list is all-
Afghanistan and Bangladesh
Oh,
and New
no.
Zealand.
They're the teams I can always support because they're always usually
Ireland.
underdogs. But you know, out of Australia and India away, I quite like to see India win, and they look like they got themselves in a bit of position. I got up the next morning, looked at the bloody WhatsApp feed, and everyone's going, "God, da, 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 da." Look, it's 36 all out. What a bunch of muppets.
I don't. It's on BT Sport, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Which,
Yes.
which I don't have, but I did see the clips of the wickets on somewhere online. Cummins was on fire though.
He was on fire, but does anyone? I mean, I looked at it and I thought the ball that got Kohli out, he drove it a wide one, didn't do much. I think Pujara got caught behind. Ball didn't actually do a lot off the pitch. It might have been fast and it might have been flat, but it's Australia. The ball doesn't do anything on there, does it? Really?
Is it the
After
pink
that five
ball? Was
Well,
it
it was a
the pink ball?
day-night test match in Adelaide, so if it's ever going to do anything, it's going to do something there and then.
Yeah, but it wasn't then. It was kind of first thing in the morning, wasn't it? Because
Yeah.
they skittled them out pretty quickly, the Indians. And
I mean, I was quite-
overnight, weren't they?
I was quite pleased, not just because I had a bet on the Aussies when Kohli and Pujara were batting well in the first innings, and then just as I got the bet on, Kohli ran himself out or was run out, which was absolutely hilarious. I mean, it's hilarious at the best of times. So when you've just got a bet on the opposition, it's
What odds did you get?
it was just under 2-1 on Australia actually.
And
at
that's
that point.
quite good. It would have been fucking stonking at the end.
And then it went wide. I mean, whatever. I let it ride, and I didn't actually hear about the Test match till after it was over, like till Saturday afternoon. And I was, oh yeah, what happened in Australia India? Oh, yeah, that's nice. But the commentating, I think the commentating, the BT take the Australian feed, and it's just so bad. It's actually impossible to listen to. There's so much drivel talk that Gary Naylor complains that they talk too much.
I did see.
He did, and he does, and they do.
He
When
also WhatsApps too much.
Oh God, doesn't he? Doesn't he? I mean, I was watching the WhatsApp, and precisely that what you say, Fred. There was Gary banging on about people going on. I think I even put that it was hyperbolic conviction or something at some point in the Twitter feed because he was just banging on and banging on. Sorry, Gary, if you're listening, we love you dearly, but crikey, mate, chill out, dude, chill out.
No, but it was really horrible. At one point, when Australia were I think they were about 60 behind on first innings, and India went in and lost a wicket before close of play on must have been the second day. And the Australian commentators, all ex-players, all great mates, all like nothing more about talking than the games they played in and when they got each other out and blah de blah.
Was there
Were
a bit of banter?
blithely talking about what Australia would like to chase in the last innings. And they were more or less agreed, yeah, anything over 300 would be impossible. And I'm shouting at them, going, 160 is bloody difficult. You're talking about 300. You don't know what you're talking about, which must be what Guerrilla Cricket listeners feel like when we're on, and they're shouting similar things at us.
I am going to.
What annoyed me was that they were all agreed that 300 was about par. And there was no dissenting voice. There was nobody saying, well, hang on a sec, 230 might be a bit of a tough chase. No, they were all quite happy. In the vast, as it happens, they only needed 90 odd to win in the final inning, so we'll never know whether they were right or wrong.
And I bet they were crying about that. Go on, Nick.
One of the great things about guerrilla cricket is that you'll always find a dissenting voice. So
Yeah.
whatever the supposed party line is, there'll always be somebody there willing to put the counter argument. That's one of the strengths
Absolutely.
of the organisation. dare I say.
Absolutely.
We'll
However,
always point out when someone was wrong as well.
Well, that famously, Gary, when West Indies required something like 100 runs in about 30 overs in the last day of a Test match with 8 wickets in hand, was just basically saying it's never going to happen. No one's ever chasing this down. It's like, fuck off.
Right to the last ball.
Right to the last ball. Yeah,
It should not be happening.
But to be fair, we don't remind him of it more than once or twice a session. So
no, we certainly don't remind each other of our various mistakes over the years, do we?
No, we don't. Bear, have you switched the record on?
Yeah.
I'll never forget when I upset Joss once when we were commentating together. I think it was just the two of us for some reason. There'd been a rain delay. And he turned around to me and just said, "So, Nestle boy, what do you think is going to happen in this?" And I just looked at him and went, and this was live, I went, "I don't know." And just turned away. And he got really pissed off, and he still brings it up. I didn't know.
A valid opinion is that we don't know.
Absolutely.
No, it's the greatest answer to any scientific question that there is.
It's true, but the traditional sports commentator's way of going it is saying, well, it's a bit tricky to tell, it can go either way from here, rather than saying, I don't know.
Yeah, I thought that was more guerrilla cricket than anything else, personally.
Honesty above all.
Yeah. Well, I just thought you can talk for England, Josh. You carry on.
Does he talk for England or for Wales or both?
Oh, that's true.
Oh, you had a love-in with Josh Butler this week, didn't you, Grubby?
No.
No, was it not you? Were you not sending him lovely tweets in the background?
Annie interviewed him, I believe, for County Cricket Matters, and apparently mentioned me in passing. I don't know, what she said.
Well,
I know
his
a
number
bloke
one
who loves
stalker.
your eyes.
Yeah, he's a man who has man love for you, is what she was saying.
Did she ask him whether he thinks he's the best Test wicketkeeper in England?
Ooh.
I don't know. We'll have to get a transcript of the interview, or indeed the interview itself.
Yeah, it's interesting because these great England team, and they talk about the team and everything for the team, and it's no individuals, and it's all about that. If that was really true, then somebody who was selected and thinks actually I'm not as good as that other bloke would say, no, I'm standing down and I'm going to let the other bloke. No, so it's not all for the team, is it? Let's be honest. They're individuals. It's an individual game, and anyone, people do not sacrifice their cricket careers for somebody else.
But on some level, once that decision has been made, the group has decided that is the best decision for the team at that point.
Well, to be fair, Mike Dines did drop himself from the test match in Australia when he was the captain and he wasn't batting very well. So it can happen, but it doesn't happen very often.
It's one of the many anomalies of cricket, though, isn't it? It's a team game, but it's an individial sport, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's
especially in the batting department.
And the bowling and the fielding department. Yeah.
The fielders are probably the only ones who aren't. I don't know.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Because you're kind of judged on your bowling or batting, aren't you? Really, you're not. I suppose wicket keeping, but you're not really judged on your fielding.
More so in the modern era. Yeah.
When the ball flashes through second and third slip, it's not a team game. They're looking at each other and blaming each other for not going for it. So.
Exactly, and I've lost a bet because some bastard hasn't caught it. I'm not happy.
Yeah,
I love the way Bear always brings it back to him.
I tell you what, I'd clean
when there's been a terrible T20 match in the IPL. It's always
It's all
main
about my
point.
bets, Grubby. It's all about my bets. It's the only way I keep interested in things like T20. But on that test match, I'd have made a bloody killing. I'd have been betting under, left, right, and centre. I'd have had it.
That
There was
is your
someone. There was
modus.
someone from the Far East, I believe, on one of the games on Facebook, Crick Tracker, who said this guy all he ever talks about is his betting.
Yeah.
That's a fair criticism.
It's a fair
Phone the number
criticism.
for
Yeah.
guaranteed tips.
Yeah, well, they're always the same tip: go under at the fall of the next wicket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's my little thing. Everyone has a little thing, don't they? I mean, that's what I like. It's harder in T. I got to be honest. T20's the hardest one to bet on. It's just random shit, man.
Yeah, it is random. But you know, every team sport that there is to a large extent determined by the individual brilliance or otherwise of the players that play it. Cricket particularly so because they're such solitary activities, batting and bowling in particular, aren't they? As opposed to something like rugby where you are physically together as a pack or whatever. You know, you can feel the team thing there. But any team sport relies on individual brilliance, doesn't it? It's gone a bit philosophical, I fancy.
It does indeed. Well, which brings me back to: do we have boring tweet of the week, Grubby?
Yes. So Nestlers and any other new listeners that we may have attracted organically, I don't know. We run a regular feature on this particular podcast called Boring Cricket Tweet of the Week, which we have now got a jingle for. Jeff Perkins did one, and I'm sure when you put it together, there's that. And also he did us Ding Dong Murali on High, which no doubt you'll have already heard at the start of this because we'll have sellotaped it in somehow magically. Anyway, Boring Cricket Tweet of the Week.
It's the boring cricket tweet of the week.
I've got a few offerings as usual. There was one. This is kind of contextless cricket tweet of the week from Jofra Archer, which just read, "My sister is too soft."
I like that. That's cool. That's randomly
Don't know what to
spouted into
make
the
of
air.
that.
On what scale?
We don't know.
Is it the Mo scale of hardness?
Oh, the Mo scale. Is that MOH? They spell that.
Yes, I think so. It's an old QI question. So is it on that scale that she's too soft? And compared to what? Too soft for what? This is
Well, exactly. A lot of questions arising from that short.
more questions than answers for somebody once saying.
That was the music to the mystery personality round, wasn't it? On Question of Sport.
What,
The
more
good
questions and answers?
Questions and answers. Yeah, that one.
Right.
And then I saw a tweet. This is, by the way, my methodology for this is to type cricket into Twitter and see what comes up.
Oh, nice. I like it. That's
You
good.
get all sorts of bollocks, including, I don't know how this one slipped in there, it's from the Met Office.
Nice.
And the Met Office said, "We get a range of wintry precipitation in the UK, but do you know the difference between snow, sleet and freezing rain?" Quite dull.
What, I would
water
like
content.
to know, where is cricket in that tweet?
So would I, Fred. No, so would I. Back on brief then. Glamorgan Cricket tweeted the following: "We need your cricket puns," they said. "We'll start you off with Michael Hogan."
Oh, God, that's dreadful.
Yeah, that's a good front runner, isn't it? Then, this is a belter. Rob Moody tweeted, "Okay, time to finish converting the remaining 3,000 cricket DVDs."
Rob Moody is a hero. Do you know who Rob Moody is? He's Robalinda on YouTube, and he gets hold of unbelievable amounts of archive footage and puts it all up until somebody puts in a, as we know, happens all too often, puts in a copyright claim, and they all got taken down. But it's extraordinary. Where does he get it all from? I mean, he's some sort of an archiving genius.
20-odd thousand he'd done prior to that, and he was down to the last 3,000. But I just found it extraordinarily nerdy and dull, so it makes the short list.
But I'm not going to vote for him because he does a wonderful job for cricket.
That's not just a cricket thing. I mean, during lockdown, I have seen tennis matches from the mid and late 70s, which I had completely forgotten about, that people put up on YouTube. I mean, YouTube's
whole matches.
Like Panata versus Connors in the quarterfinal of the 1978 US Open. Where did that come from?
Yeah. I find it really, I've got to say, I find it really difficult to watch old TV sport when it's in low def, really grainy.
That's the only problem. The quality.
And you can't really see what the fuck's going on. It's just like, oh, this is maybe if it was in real high def and modern, you'd think it was great, but and also something you know the result of, unless it's an absolute stonking classic, it's just another game.
If you've forgotten the match, the likelihood is you've forgotten the result, right? So
true. I once watched the 1971 World Cup. Was it World Cup final? Was it 71? Brazil versus
not in
Italy.
football or cricket.
70.
70.
Yeah.
Fuck me.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Carlos Alberto.
This was about sort of end of the 90s, I guess. And even then, the fouling that went on in the 70s, it's just like, Christ almighty, these people were literally hacking each other to death.
Our PE teacher in school had a video of Brazil versus Italy, I think in the 82 World Cup. It was 3-2. It was an absolutely cracking game. And whenever the weather was just too lousy, he would just set up a video in the gym and we'd all sit and watch that for an hour and a half, which is top quality PE teaching, I have to say. Rather than
it's good quality PE
doing
teaching.
Press-ups and all this kind of bollocks.
That was the Paolo Rossi.
So well done him. Yeah. The late
Sadly
Paolo Rossi.
died, didn't he?
Yeah, another one.
63. God damn, man.
There's been a lot this year.
An awful lot this year.
Have a lot of people died this year? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
He scored a hat trick in that game, Paolo Rossi, and top scorer in the tournament with 6, I think.
Yes.
But the most iconic moment of that game, from in my memory at least, was the Brazilian who scored. And he ran towards, was it Falcao? And he ran towards the camera, I think screaming his own name or something like that.
Yeah. With his long blonde locks. Yeah.
Didn't Rossi get was it a hat trick in the final or something?
No, not in the final. No,
it wasn't in the final. No, but he got.
Marco Tardelli scored in the final because actually he did run to the camera shouting Marco Tardelli. You can see it. You look it up on YouTube. He's saying Marco Tardelli when he scored his goal.
He was a hard bastard.
Yeah.
He was an absolute hard bastard. I was sitting near the front, Arsenal Juventus in 1980, I think it was, in the European game, where he took David O'Leary and deposited his leg into very many pieces. It was quite the most horrific thing. I don't think he got sent off for it, actually.
Wasn't that the game where Paul Vasson scored in the...
He did, in the end of the second leg.
Yeah, we beat them, yeah. The famous Paul Vasson. We won't talk about Arsenal though at the moment.
That was the last time Arsenal played with 11 men, I think.
There's always a moment in this podcast, Nestlers, where we wander into football, and someone like me has to sound the trolling.
The football klaxon.
Just one thing. Wouldn't it be typical 2020 if somehow Arsenal ended the year at bottom of the table, which has never happened before ever in the history of English football, never been relegated.
You've never been relegated. It's not looking good, is it? Is it 5 in a row you've lost?
Oh,
where's that klaxon, Grubby?
Quick, get the klaxon.
I forgot you're an Arsenal fan as well, aren't you? Yeah.
I am, yes, through thick and thin. Yes, through thick.
Always looking rosy in the red mirror for me. It has to be said.
Well, quite honestly, I wouldn't be disappointed if Liverpool win the title this year, given the options. Anyway, I would like to talk. Something I noticed the other day. I might be England's greatest expert, or certainly in the top 0.1% of the experts of an American president called John Tyler, who was president between 1841 and 1845. He's one of the least known American presidents of all time.
I've never heard of him.
Exactly.
Well, most people haven't. Even most Americans haven't. I've read 3 books about him, which is pretty much all that anyone could possibly know about him. But he was in the news about a month ago because his grandson died. And if you're thinking that sounds a bit odd, considering John Tyler was born in 1790, no, his grandson died this year. And more than that, he has a brother who's still alive. So a man born in 1790 has a grandson who is still alive. Grubby's face is looking very puzzled. How is this possible?
Exactly. I'm just thinking the same as well. That means he had a kid probably in the late 1800s or some.
Well, he had a kid in 1853 at the age of 63.
Okay.
And that kid had a son in 1924 and who died this year, and then 1928 who's still alive when he was 71 and 75.
Wow.
So a man who was born in 1790 has a grandson who's still alive.
Well, actually, I mean, you think about it. What's his name? Old Rolling Stones dude, Mick Jagger. He's just had a kid, hasn't he? Or he's having a kid. I mean, he must be nearly 80.
And if that son has a kid when he's 70, then
exactly,
the same thing could happen.
Jagger's got a son, or I think it is, who's very young. He only he had a son about 5-6 years ago.
So I thought it was less than that. I thought
Yeah.
he was having a kid right now, sort of thing. But
Keith had his birthday the other day. Still going.
He's
ticking
breaking all records. Quite
He'll outlive us
unlikely.
all.
Speaking of which,
Well-
I watched. Talking of drug excess, have you seen The Dirt? You seen that Motley Crue film? It's on
No.
Netflix. It's quite
Oh,
amusing.
nice. Yeah.
How are they
That's
still alive?
Well, exactly. It's a big question. Well, what's his name? Tommy Lee Jones died in the back of a cab, in the back of
Yeah, that's right.
an ambulance for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And apparently, it's only because the dude who was in the ambulance was a Motley Crue fan and stuck him with 2 vials of adrenaline. That
You
he,
mean Tommy Lee?
Tommy Lee, yeah, that's what I meant.
Not
What
Tommy
did I
Lee
say?
Jones, the actor.
No, not Tommy Lee Jones, the actor. Did I say
They
Tommy
should
Lee
have got
Jones? I meant Tommy Lee.
a straight umlaut and punctured him with that. That would have been
Yeah.
2 holes where they shouldn't be.
Yeah.
That might have worked.
Tommy Lee famously went out with Pamela Anderson, didn't he?
Yeah.
Mm.
And Heather Locklear as well, I think.
I think
Or
they
was that
stayed
one of
in
the
more
others?
than went out, but yeah.
There was something about in and out, but I can't remember what it was. I've got one more candidate for boring cricket tweet of the week.
Sorry.
Right. No, it's all right. It's all right. This one is from a fella called Abhishek Dubey. And he's writing to a load of functionaries who I think organise the competition to which he alludes. And it goes like this. Sir, we are players of tennis ball cricket. We have a championship in Haridwar, but we have not confirmed our ticket. Please confirm our ticket. Here is my ticket.
Genius.
Was there a response?
Oh, I
Did
didn't
you not
delve
check?
into it. I didn't delve into it. No, I'm very superficial when it comes to the research, as you know.
Well, we ought to take up his case because this is a serious injustice. Obviously, has gone on, and I think we need to find out. There's so much we need to find out. We need to watch all of Robert Linda's videos. We need to check whether the ticket has been legally authorised.
We need to check.
That guy sounds like the sort of person who sends us messages on Crick Tracker.
Yes.
Video. Where video?
Yes.
So I don't know if we want a winner. We've got Joffre Archer's My Sister Is Too Soft. We've got that Met Office one. We've got Glamorgan asking for puns, cricket puns. We've got Rob Moody converting 3,000 DVDs. Or we've got poor old Abhishek trying to get his ticket confirmed.
I quite like Abhishek.
Yeah, I'm going Abhishek as well.
Well, I'd like to go for Glamorgan because they've got it tough over there in Wales, and none more so than if you're a Glamorgan fan. And if you are a Glamorgan fan, have to put up with their cricket and have to deal with their tweets, then we really ought to have great sympathy for you.
Being garlanded with the award of boring cricket tweet of the week from this podcast is going to make up for all that.
I would hope so. And we get Josh Robinson on to ask him, whether that's made his year or not.
Well, unfortunately, I get a vote as well, and I agree with the chaps. I think Abhishek's is the winner by a street. So Glamorgan couldn't even win that competition.
Well, that's fine, but I do the editing, so you never know what might happen.
Is that what you will then, Fred? As long as you get...
You're going to say, well, I'm voting for Glamorgan Cricket Club.
Yeah. As long as you get Perco's Ding Dong Murally on High and the jingle for Boring Cricket Tweet of the Week in there, I'm happy.
Well, I'm gonna have to send them over to you. You haven't got them, have you?
No, we shall put them in, and nobody knows when we record this, so nobody knows when it has to go out, to be honest.
Absolutely.
Even though we're talking about football matches that are going on now, Spurs has just lost. So, happy days. Well, it's a shame that Hendo isn't on. I was musing, Hendo's, it's fair to say he's taking this whole lockdown stroke pandemic thing a bit harsh. And he's locked himself away for many a long month now. And I was reading a book on physics, and apparently there are 4 fundamental forces in the universe, being gravity, electromagnetism, the weak nuclear force, and the strong nuclear force. And I'd like to add the Hendo Reservoir of Negativity as one of the fundamental forces of the universe, because I think without that, I think the whole universe would collapse. It would implode.
He's putting a lot of this negative energy to tweeting Conservative politicians on Twitter.
Is he?
Yeah,
I'm sure they don't read
I
his
must have
tweets.
missed that.
I'm sure they don't read them.
Well, he's a regular cricket person who's still on Twitter because one of our number has been suspended.
Who?
Yeah.
Andy, formerly Get It Quietly, now suspended Ward, has been kicked off Twitter.
For something completely inane, if I remember rightly, wasn't it? They kind of
It's
permanently.
not that inane, but I don't know if it's permanent. He's certainly been off for a couple of weeks.
I know. I checked. I've been checking a bit, and yeah, he's been off for a good long
He's
while.
on the naughty step.
I
So
thought he'd actually sort of gone off Twitter himself because he was fed up with it.
Involuntarily, I think it's fair to say.
But I thought what he tweeted wasn't that. I can't even remember what it was now. What was it again? But it wasn't that bad, was it?
Well,
it was kind of misconstrued, I thought. Which is kind of fair enough in the world of AI. Yeah, an AI can quite happily misconstrue a sentence into something it doesn't mean to me.
They can misconstrue a jingle as being a copyright infringement. It's amazing what AI
Absolutely, it
can
happens
do.
all the bloody time.
Well, I called Jacob Rees Mogg the other day a long streak of paralysed piss, but I mean, I didn't get banned for that. What's Andy
Well, keep
tweeted?
trying.
I think quite a lot of
I
people
think
have.
Grubby, as the only person who has got Gorilla Cricket banned from Twitter
Yeah.
for a small period of time, might be able to help you with the word concern.
I was mystified the other day, lads, because there was some chat about that very incident. For those of you listening who don't know, I got Gorilla Cricket suspended accidentally once by using the C word 3 times in one tweet, only as a joke. You know, it was a bit of joke. It was, which C called this C a C? Was what I wrote in response to Mogg, who was trying to get one of our newbies to say the C word, and bang, we got banned for 12 hours, right in the middle of a show, so it was not particularly hard.
It was in a World Cup, I seem to remember,
Yeah,
because
it
I was
was.
away and
Yeah.
I got a little notification saying we've been banned for Twitter. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah. So that was why. But then the other day, when a few of our mates were having a chat about that incident, and Mogg pretty much word for word put what I tweeted in a tweet, and nothing happened to him. Where's the justice?
There is
He's
no
Mogg.
justice.
He's Mogg.
Twitter
You've got quotation
Australia
marks
has
around
different.
No,
Is that tweet still extant, or did we have to delete it?
what, the one that I did that got us banned?
Yeah.
I think it got pulled immediately.
At least somebody did. That was before 2020.
Well, you were tweeting from the Gorilla Cricket account.
I was on tweets at the time, Nestlers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should just be for cricket.
Yes.
It was all in good fun.
Yeah, exactly. It was contextual, something that the Twitter bots don't really take into account. But yeah, I couldn't believe
Search for it, see whether he finds it.
Mogg got away with it, and I was like, how can you get away with it? And of course, he tweeted back, you know, there are.
I'm Mogg.
You have no idea the extent of my powers, or something.
Yeah, of course he did.
I'll let him have that one.
Of course, we've got some fantastic cricket stuff coming up over Christmas. We're doing some BBL.
2 days, Tuesday, isn't it? The first one.
Tuesday, yeah. Apparently, I'm not going in anymore, no, because I was down on the same rotor as Knackle, and Knackle's freaking out about Tier 4, and I'm quite happy to step back because it's T20. I've had enough of T20, man. I've watched an awful lot of bloody T20 this year. Not enough Test cricket. Not enough of anything else, really.
Aren't you in his bubble?
Not anymore. We haven't been in the same. We haven't been in the same room since the summer. So,
All right.
you know.
I don't think the police are going to come banging on your door if you both are in the house, would they?
They're not, but it's a T20, and I'm quite happy not get up at 7 o'clock in the morning to go and do a T20 in Australia.
True.
Yeah.
Well, if he's put his hand up to do it, then let him in.
Absolutely.
See, Dan Christian got a 50 in 15 balls today.
Hooray. I've just done a search. I've just done a search for the C word from the Gorilla Cricket account. I nearly said that wrong. And there's only one instance. And using my forensic skills, I think it was the bear who did it.
Really?
Because who was he calling the C word? It was Dan Norcross. And it was from an iPhone. So it wasn't Knackle. So it was basically the bear. That's what I'm saying.
And what was the extent of that tweet?
It was, well, come on in then, you C word.
What year?
It was March 2015.
Yeah, that'd have been me.
This sounds like Jonathan Agnew and Jonathan Liu all over again.
Yes. Well, he was right, Agnew. Jonathan Liu is a C word, but that's neither here nor there. Jonathan, if you're listening, you're a cunt.
I had a massive pop at Agnew, but that wasn't from the Gorilla account, was it?
Well, yeah, he got a bit precious, it's fair to say.
He got very precious.
He is a bit thin-skinned. For somebody so
should
tall.
Should we go over that story again? That was quite funny, wasn't it? That was, I think I'd only just joined 2016, and he was off doing the equestrianism for the Olympics, wasn't he? When there was a full
dressage.
Oh no, that wasn't about that one. That was no. Yeah, of
There was
course
a
we absolutely slanted about that. No. It's when they did that bloody off-tube shit the other year, and then they were all bigging it up and being all lovey about it, and then I just started. There's one of the few times I've actually lost it and thought, what a bunch of complete arseholes. They're all, they've been slating us for years. And of course, there's the infamous supposed story. We'll have to say,
I've got the edit button at the ready.
You got the edit button.
Well,
no, supposedly, we heard this through Andrew Miller. That when we joined the cricketer, they were very upset about what we were doing and the fact that we were the cricketer. And we all know that.
That's true.
He left the cricketer. He quit the board and was, completely flummoxed by it. And apparently he went to Christopher Martin Jenkins, who was on his deathbed, and made him write that piece about that we were predators and all this kind of stuff. And then
that bit is not necessarily true.
That is not necessarily true, but this is what we heard verbatim from Andrew Miller, who was with people who were in the know, and it was all kicking off. And then 3-4 years later, I'm gonna, the BBC go and do the same, and they're all bigging it up. So I completely fucking lost it and put that story out on Twitter.
We're the worst predators in history because everyone else is still there, and we're still
we're not
nipping at their ankles.
No,
it's not much of a predator.
No, we're not predators. We're just doing.
Well, I'm saying if we were, blimey, United are 2 up. My 2-2's looking a bit right. Well, it's halfway in, I suppose. One way of looking at it.
Accent.
Oh dear. 2 goals in 3 minutes. Jesus.
Who are they playing?
Leeds. Dirty Leeds.
I need Bantam to score.
Have you got a bet?
No,
this man only talk of bets.
He's in my. This is fantasy football. But I had 37 points after Liverpool's game yesterday, and that was after Salah, who didn't bloody start the game. And I started watching it about 70 minutes and thought, shit, he hadn't started the game. He scored no goals. I'm in trouble. And then
very observant.
He scored a couple.
It's the football klaxon.
Well, exactly, it's the football klaxon. But he scored 2 goals, and I had an assist, and he was my captain, so he got 28 points anyway. So I was quite happy. A quick aside.
Well, it's the festive season, so I don't think we'll be meeting again. Certainly probably not before the new year.
Nope.
Or the new tier, as it's now being called.
So how long is this going to go on for God's sake?
I should
be in Spain, sitting outside by my sister's pool with a beer in 21 degrees of sunshine.
Well, you should have joined everyone else yesterday on trains, planes, and automobiles trying to get out of London. Then probably.
Oh, that was hilarious, wasn't it?
Yeah, I hated that film. I don't know why other people seem to like it.
It's on Channel 4. It's on bloody Film 4 a lot at the moment. I've seen it.
Planes, trains, and automobiles.
Yeah.
Those aren't pillows.
There's one great bit in it when they're in the back of the truck and they're all frozen. And the dog is frozen as well.
It's a good film.
I can't even.
That's the best bit.
No spoilers. I've been watching a lot of Shakespeare films for no apparent reason, and I did a review of one. I put a spoiler warning in there. But considering the film is from 1971, the play is from about 1600, and the story that it's based on is from about 1050. I think spoilers are probably. I don't know. I don't know what the time limitation is on spoilers, but 1,000 years, you're probably safe. I would have thought.
Yeah, reviewed it. You reviewed it for who?
For my watching public. Do you not follow me on Twitter, Nestless?
Yeah.
Gary liked it. He likes a good review. There's Gary. It's actually a good film. Roman Polanski's Macbeth, 1971. Wow. Dig it out if you can.
Oh, is that the one that's on a? Is that the one that's just on a barren stage? And it's
it's a proper full. In Scotland, the castles, the whole works going on.
Okay. I like Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet. I think that's good.
I don't think I saw that.
There's one version, I think, with Judi Dench as Lady Macbeth.
Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking
of. It's a very austere production.
Yes.
It's just like it's on a stage and it's all, you can just see the actor's face in the light and it's all black. Otherwise, it's very.
That's what I did for my English at O level. That was.
Yeah,
so they made us watch it. So
Yeah, like we read the book, watched the film.
Watch the film, exactly.
You might remember some of it that way.
Yeah,
which you won't do.
I quite like Macbeth.
Oh, it's a great story.
Yeah, what happens these days with school? Do they just get that sort of thing and then just go on Google?
Pretty much. I mean,
now they're watching films on Zoom, basically. That's
no. To get an understanding, instead of just going, I can't bother to watch this, I'll go on Google and find out what it's about, and then kind of copy it almost.
Yeah.
Is that
what's wrong with
that?
Well, I will say this: my daughter came home with what is supposedly a kind of maths. What equivalent of GCSE paper the other day, and one of the questions on it was literally just like really simple percentages that you do at about age 12. I was like, what? It was like something like how many dogs are there in this number of dogs and cats? Or it's really simple as that. It was just fucking what?
Whereas my
Count
lad's
the
been-
dogs.
And it was a
my lad-
calculator paper as well. I'm like, huh?
Bloody hell. My lad's been doing the kind of 11 plus equivalents and non-verbal and verbal, all this sort of stuff. And some of those non-verbal, where you get a series of shapes and you have to say what the next one's going to be. Or some of those are bloody hard.
They're really random. There is definitely, but all my kids have done 11 plus, and there is definitely just a knack to that, and they just teach them that.
Yeah.
So
And practice.
But it's
Well,
multiple
yes.
guests anyway, isn't it?
Some schools do that.
it is
Some
multiple
schools
guests
do.
anyway.
Multiple guests, so you've got there's probably only 3 answers for each one, so you've got to be pretty unlucky if you only get 33%.
And I'm quite happy to say that. Wife doesn't like this, but I'm quite happy to say that all my kids failed their 11 plus, just marginally.
I failed it as well.
Right, no, have you taken your kids to an 11 plus, Grubby? Is what I'm going to ask you here.
The wife has.
It's a fucking disgrace, mate. I mean, it really is. I mean, the ones I've been to, and it's like serious now. I suppose it's not that serious because it really annoyed me. But there's like fucking 1,500 kids on 2 sittings for about 100 places. I just think it's too OTT.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who
there we
OTT
go.
is that? That's I've got to work out what that stands for. I'm terrible.
Over the top.
What's the next shape? Or 2 OTT could be one of your you like those albums by rappers and stuff. That could be one of those. 2
It's Francesco
OTT
Totti.
should be your rapper name.
The rappers, you've seen the rappers.
Talking
on
of
the top
rappers,
the
should we wrap this up? I think we've
done 46
Verbal
minutes.
done.
I think we should.
You haven't been
long
miserable.
enough.
Have we fulfilled our contractual requirement for 46 minutes?
We haven't.
I
We
never
haven't
signed the
we haven't-
contract.
we
Like
haven't-
Tony H. Wilson and the
How
Happy
much am I
Mondays.
getting
I
paid
never
for this,
signed
though?
the contract.
We haven't talked much about COVID-19.
That's
Gotta
something.
be a good thing.
No,
They're
that
not
came under the Hendo Reservoir of Negativity, which keeps the
I-
world in place.
I see
Yeah.
Gary's already had the first part of the injection.
Yeah, he randomly was in a space where
He was
they had
doing something
extra.
else.
Yeah, exactly.
He just because I
He
went.
was talking. Was there something else talking?
I think
I think he was having a
I
diabetes eye test, actually, wasn't he?
There's a
And,
fella out in the waiting room. He won't shut up. Just give him the injection and send him on his way. There you go.
think that's what happened.
Just say something to keep your mind off it. 20 minutes later, he's still rabbiting on.
They probably just.
I do
put
think that the
water
bad
in it.
light, when the captain should have the choice of coming off, because it's disgraceful that they don't bowl their overs in the day. They should just come
Oh
off. They
God!
should
If he
walk off.
goes on about fucking overs in a
No,
day
he's
anymore,
right
I'm
about
gonna.
that.
Well,
I agree.
I'm not.
Oh, come on, Grubby. His solution to slow over rates is having less cricket by one of the teams walking off. I don't think that's much of a solution.
Exactly.
No, the
He just
paying
talks
public.
Sorry,
They-
Gary, you talk bollocks, mate.
No, but he's right that there are not enough overs bowled in a day, or that it takes 4 hours to play a 2020 match, which is ridiculous.
4 hours
So
for a 2020 match is ridiculous.
I would agree.
But then when
on-
you have loads of pay TM fucking reviews,
Well, that's down
for-
to advertising.
Oh,
yeah.
that's down to advertising and
Well,
bloody
it's not just down to
Seat
advertising.
fucking timeouts 2 times in a bloody innings.
the pay
To play
TM thing,
20 over games in 2.5 hours on a Wednesday evening in July.
Exactly.
yeah, the pay TM thing's quite funny because they sponsored a one-day series once, and I was reading it on the screen as Pate Modi. I thought it was like some new Indian dignitary or something. He was,
Hey, Modi. Hey,
Where's
Modi.
Pate Modi, where's he? Yeah. Anyway,
Right. Well, thank you, everybody. It's been
No
great
problem.
as usual, and welcome now that Nestle's you've broken your podcast cherry. It's a
Hopefully.
bit like that. I'm sorry, I haven't a clue when Willie Rushton died, and they got in other people to fill in for him. You know, you got the core 3. You could be Tim Brooke Taylor, Grubby, because he was the next one to die. And then there's Barry Cryer and Graham Garden will be me and the
Brian's
bear.
clinging on, isn't he?
Yeah.
Is he still alive?
He's gone white recently. So I hope everybody has whatever they wish each other at this time of year and all that bollocks, and a happy new one, and best over it. And we'll be back probably sometime in the new year. Who knows who's going to be sitting in the 4th chair? We have to do a strong review of Nestle's performance, and we'll have to give him a 30-page readout of where his good points and perhaps his bad points, if there are any. So,
Strength and strength acquired.
I'll have a shave.
No, you don't have to do that. No shaving.
you'll get
for
your
this show.
HR review, see whether you're getting a bonus this year. So Grubby, you led us in. You can lead out 2020 from the Grumpy Gorilla podcast in your inimitable fashion.
Yeah, well, happy Christmas, happy Hanukkah, Merry Winterval, whatever floats your boat. From the Bear, from Not Fred, from Nestlers, and from me, Grubby, it's goodbye, good luck, and see you in 2021.
See ya.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Oh, so that was the innings of Brendan McCullum. Scores lots of fours because he don't like to run them. And here we are waving Brendan McCullum goodbye. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Now turn the record off and we can say cut.